So let's look at percents in a little more detail. We've worked with them a little bit already. So let's see. We have, first of all, what number is 6% of 9? So that word translates to equals. What number? This is a mystery number, right? 6%. So remember how that works? 6%, we move the decimal 2 places left. 0.06 as a decimal. Okay, so what number x is equals 0.06? The word of translates to times. Okay, so times. So there's my mathematical equation that corresponds to that statement. What number is 6% of 9? X is 0.06 times 9. And so then I just have to do that multiplication. So what is that? 9 times 6, 54, so 0.54. So the number 0.54 is 6% of 9. Let's see if we can translate this one. So 12 is, 10%, 0.1 of times, and then what number? That's a mystery number, right? X. There's my mathematical equation. And then I have to solve for that mystery number. So I have a couple options. So I could divide by 0.1, or I could do this. So I know 0.1 is the same as 1/10. It's easier to work with fractions sometimes because then I could just multiply both sides by 10. So x is 120. So 12 is 10% of 120. That makes sense. That's kind of an easy one. Okay. 4 is what? So what is a mystery, right? So x, a variable, percent. So that means part out of 100. Okay, of times 25. One more time through that one. So 4 is, that's 4 equals what? X, percent, part out of 100, of times 25. Okay, now I have to solve for the variable, which is x. So what to do first? I don't know. Should I go ahead and say, look, I'm multiplying straight across. I have 25x over 100. Because 25 divides into 100 leaves me a 4. Then I could multiply both sides by 4. Okay, so 4 is what percent of 25? 4 is 16% of 25. So how could I check that one? I could do a little check. I could say, so the claim is 16% of 25 is equal to 4. So is that true? That one I'm using a calculator. Yes, it is. How about another one? What percent? Okay, so how does that translate? What is the mystery, right? X percent is part out of 100. Of means times 10 is 30. Okay, so 10s cancel and then multiply by 10. So 30 is 300% of 10. Okay. Does it make sense? So how would I check something like that? Well, I'd say what? 300%, so 3 times 10, is that 30? Oh, yes, it is. So that checks as well. Okay, what about this? The sales tax is 5%. So if I want to go ahead and convert that into a decimal, I could do that. Probably be useful. Let's move this down. Okay, if the cost of a pair of shoes is $120 before tax, how much are they with tax included? So let's see, should we use S for sales price? The final price? Okay, so the final price will be that $120, but then I'm going to pay 5% of that $120 in tax, right? So the shoes are $120 before tax, then I pay 5% of the $120. $6 in tax. Okay. So the shoes are going to be $126 with tax. If a different pair is $150 after tax, what was the price before tax? Okay, so let me see how this is going to work. So, let's see. So, the sales price is $150. Okay, that's the final price. What I'm looking for is the initial price. and I know I paid 5% in tax. So let's see if this makes sense. This is my first stab at it. Should always identify my variables here. So if P is the price before tax, then let's see what this says. It says I start with that initial price. I add 5% of that initial price in tax, and the price after tax is that 150. So that looks good. So then I have to solve this for P. Okay, so I actually have like terms here. I have 1p plus 0.05p. That's 1.05p. Okay, so then I divide. I guess I can divide by 5. Divide by 3. Squeezing that in. So I guess you could use a calculator at this step even. It doesn't come out to all that friendly of a number. So let me see, I need to write a conclusion here. Let me move that down. So let's see. P, don't forget the units. See if that seems reasonable. Okay, so this is the price before tax. All right, and then the price after tax was 150, so that seems about right. Okay, what's next? On a committee, there are twice as many Republicans as Democrats. So can I translate that statement? The number of Republicans is twice the number of Democrats. Does that make sense? Okay, there are twice as many Republicans as Democrats. So if you think about just plugging something in there, so if there were 10 Democrats, there would be 20 Republicans, right? So there are twice as many Republicans as Democrats. So that looks like a good equation. If 30% of the Republicans, so 0.3 R, remember 30% is 0.3. And 20% of the Democrats, let me use a capital to be consistent. So, okay, so I'm trying to translate here. So I've got 30% of the Republicans, 20% of the Democrats voted in favor of a bill, and there were 8 yes votes. So this gives me a total of 8. Okay, so do you see why that's true? So let's see. We have, let's go through this one more time. 30% of Republicans voted yes. 20% of Democrats voted yes. The total number of yes votes was 8. Let me identify the variables here. So So I have this little system of two equations, but I always have to make sure I write up here at the top what my variables represent. So I use two variables, R and D. So R is the total number of Republicans. D is the total number of Democrats. Okay, so now I need to solve this little system of equations. So what I can actually do is use a method that we're going to talk about more later. So I can do a substitution. So how does that work? Well, I know R is equal to 2D. So can't I replace the R in that second equation with 2D? That way you see how now I only have one variable D in this equation? So I should be able to solve this equation for D because I actually have like terms there. So this is another one, I mean, you could divide by 0.8, but I'm kind of thinking, I bet this would be an easy problem to do if I changed 0.8 to 8 over 10. 0.8 is 8/10, right? Because then I could multiply up the 10 and divide by 8. Okay. So there are 10 Democrats. We have this equation, right? So R is 2D, 20 Republicans. Okay, what was the original question? How many people are on the committee total? So the total on the committee is 10 plus 20, 30 people. Okay, there's my answer. And here's the last one. Your current position pays $32,000 a year. If you accept a new position, you'll make $40,000 a year. What's the percent increase if you take the new position? So first of all, what is the total increase? Well, the total increase would be that 40,000 minus 32,000, right? The total increase would be 8,000. But the question was, what is the percent increase? So in other words, I could rephrase that. The question is, 8,000 is what percent of that initial amount that we were making? Okay, so we've done these before. 8,000 is what part out of 100 of 32,000? Solve for x, so I can cancel 2 zeros. 8,000 is x times 320. Divide by 320. So you cancel zeros. 800 over 32, I could start breaking that down. Let's see. Divide by 8. Oh, 25. So the percent increase is 25%. So that's a pretty good salary increase.